Congratulations on this film.
Thanks very much.
Is the film that's on screen the film that you intended to make?
No, it's not. The film that we intended to make was an activist film. We saw some footage, and when I say we, I mean the other filmmakers, Augusta Miller, Sarah Jane McCallum and Andy Cunningham. We saw some footage online on YouTube, and it was horrifying. It was footage of farm animals being treated really badly, and we thought we wanted to investigate and put a stop to what we were seeing.
And what happened?
Well, along the way we started to realise that there was actually, more than one version of events. There was the activist view of things, but we started to realise that we were only getting one side of the story and that there were actually farmers involved as well. So we started talking to the farmers. From there, I don't know if you remember, but live export broke, and suddenly animal welfare became sort of the hottest item in Australian media, and we had the whole country sort of paying attention to what was happening to Australian cattle, and so we started talking to politicians.
I'm very interested in you detailing the change of mindset that happened during the film and which is captured on film, that you seem to have gone from being activists at the beginning of the film to becoming documentarians by the end of the film. Is that a fair way to describe the film?
Yeah, that's very fair. I think along the way we realised that there were many truths. Each person had their own truth. At the start of the film, we have a quote from the filmmaker, the producer Robert Evans, who made Chinatown, and he says that there are three sides to every story: your side, my side, and the truth. And then the next bit, which we didn't include, but it's really important, is and nobody's lying. And so the more we filmed, the more objective we became.
Who is going to get angry by watching this movie?
It's a really good question. I think people on both sides of the extreme will get angry. So maybe you might have extreme animal rights people who might be angry that we spoke to the farmers, and then you may have the farmers who are angry that we, spent a lot of time with activists as well.
The activists are naturally very well versed in their lines. One of the big surprises, I guess, is how eloquent members of the industry are in talking about what they do. And it almost comes as fresh air to hear this other side of the story being expressed so eloquently. Were you surprised at how well versed they were?
We were. We were also surprised at the access that we got into these farms and with these people as well. And I know that the media in the past has found the doors closed, or the barn doors closed, when they've wanted to speak to people from the industry. But yeah, sow stalls were breaking. These are these sort of little pens that pigs are kept in, and this was a big news story, and it was on 60 Minutes, and they allowed us to go and hear their side.
And you actually kept sequences in the film that mark the changing of your mindset when your colleague says, you guys have changed during this. Can you just tell me about the decision-making process involving bringing yourselves into the film? Because I imagine at the beginning you did not intend to do that.
That's right. In the beginning, we weren't intending to put ourselves in the film, but as we were going, we started to realise that it would be interesting for people watching to see the decision-making processes, the changes that we went through, so they could, I guess as audience members, live through our journey. And we were sort of, I'm come from a farming background, but and so does one of the other producers, Sarah Jane, and then the other two are from city backgrounds, and I guess we had two vegetarians, two meat eaters, so we were sort of a broad church of people, and hopefully everyone watching can maybe side with one person at the beginning of the film, but that could change as well as we keep as the film keeps going, because I guess we as on-screen people take interesting turns that may not be expected.
What are you drawing?
I'm drawing myself strolling up a grass hill to see a very nice farm.
A couple of beautiful kind of white
healthy-looking hens just grazing lazily among the grass.
Well, I'm not saying that that is definitely the case in every farm, but I'm saying that it could be industry, you know, yes, sure, but still comfortable for the animal.
Is it not ironic that the thing that will potentially make this film controversial is that it is arguing for a balanced view on the issue?
It is, because I think by being in the middle, we make ourselves targets for anyone who holds a very strong opinion.
And how has the film travelled elsewhere? Has it shown anywhere else in any capacity?
Melbourne International Film Festival is the world premiere of this film. Next we go to the Sydney Underground Festival, and we also show at Portland Film Festival in the US as well. We've got a few more announcements to make, but yeah. And
what do you want the film to achieve?
There's a couple of things I want it to achieve. The main thing that I want it to achieve is I want people that watch it, audiences, to have the information that we didn't have when we went out filming. I want them to be able to collate all of those views that we put on the screen together and make a choice about where their meat comes from. But as well as that, at the moment, there's a thing called AgGag, which is our the Agriculture Minister, Barnaby Joyce, has announced that he wants to limit I guess the media's ability and also activists' ability to go inside farms and film. That worries me as a filmmaker. That means that, you know, if we or our other journalists wanted to use film that was shot by activists, then they could be limited in being able to do that because they'd have to hand it over to authorities. So, yeah, I'm scared as a filmmaker for what that means.
And the timing of you making this film, the fact that the whole live export scene exploded, was a remarkable piece of serendipity. What difference did that actually have to what you were doing?
What the difference that live export made was that as we were learning, the whole community was learning as well about animal welfare. So suddenly we had a whole lot of politicians interested in what we were doing, and also other industries, say cattle producers, which we weren't looking at in the beginning, also being interested in what we were filming and what we were going to say.
Looking back now to what you were before, which was an animal activist, as opposed to what you are now, which is a documentarian, how do you reflect on the way you were thinking before?
When I look back, I'm thankful that we were so narrow-minded in the beginning, because that gave us, I guess, that gave us the ability to grow on screen.
Was there any resistance to challenging your own mindset when you started learning these things?
Do you mean resistance within the group?
Yeah, between you know, sort of digging your heels in and not wanting to have your minds changed.
Oh, absolutely there was. It was, you know, at different points along the way, one team member or another would get worried that we, as a group, were getting swayed, for instance, too far to industry or too far to certain politicians. And we had to keep coming back and discussing as a group, and luckily we had the cameras rolling because we were able to put that into the film.
What kind of response do you think you'll get with this?
I'm hoping that I think what will happen is people will be challenged because we're not telling them what to think. A lot of films about animal welfare in the past have pushed a certain agenda, and we've tried not to do that. So I think people may be challenged by the fact that they have to make up their own opinions at the end of the film, and we're not going to tell them anything.